Welcome back to the Trackmania Challenger League, our final match of the day. Looking forward to seeing how this one shakes out, as Sprout will return in order to take on their lovely opponents in orKs GP Numelops, who are looking to make a return after a shaky start to their season up against BS Plus competition.
Yeah, 1-4 up against BS Plus competition, who, well, I mean, those two were neck and neck by the end of stage one. You would have expected them to be really tough opponents for each other and make the series close, but it was not that way whatsoever. They really didn't bring the same kind of performance that they did last stage up against their opponents there. Hopefully, they could do something against Sprout, who did drop a map to Ascent in their first game. Ascent obviously being, I guess, technically the second lowest seed, but Exalti and Ascent both down there in terms of seeding. But yeah, Sprout, I mean, they had a much better start to this stage than they did last stage at the very least.
Absolutely. They looked very fast, and they've gone immediately to Vortex here, where Dexter looked absolutely stellar yesterday. We did also, I mean, I do love this trend we have at the moment, and I say love in the sense of I hate it, where we come from the caster screen to the pick ban screen, and Frosty is always already banned by the time we get there. It's insta-banned by the first team with a ban every time.
I was talking to a couple of people, like, you know, dropping by their practice streams and stuff like that, and most of them thought, nah, there's not going to be an insta-ban. You know, we're not going to have another gyroscope.
Yeah,
except there is.
We are.
Who is picking
Twiggy?
It? Tell me, who is picking it? Because all of you seem to think that somebody's going to pick Frosty at some point. Apparently not. I don't know. Either way, I think I was being intentionally misled. Maybe they're getting tips from Nero on how to gaslight me. But at this point, yeah, it's starting to look like we're seeing very similar top four maps. Not the same as last stage, but very similar in that way.
Yeah, Off-Road is sneaking in there this time around, picked up by orKs GP Numelops. But yeah, Airwalk is up there, Vortex is up there as well. Control is, once again, up there. I'm not going to complain. I'm still enjoying seeing all of these maps. And we'll see how far we actually get into our map selection this time around. Sprout did start off much stronger on this stage than they did in the last stage, picking up a win and making it look like they were here to play, looking like they might even have practiced some of the maps as well. Yeah. And we'll see if orKs GP Numelops can do anything to disrupt them.
Well, Sprout were looking very, very comfortable here on Vortex last time. They played an 11-2 against Ascent on that one. And again, this is one of those maps where if you're not fully prepared for it, it's just going to be a difficult time. You know, it's a lot of people were calling it, or if you're fully prepared for it, also, it's not going to be a good time. As I was going to say, a lot of people were calling it the Royale map to start off with. Obviously, having these moving parts going on means that you really need to get your line down incredibly consistently. And if you don't, the smallest little error will compound itself over time.
Yeah, but it is still one of the most consistent maps in the pack. Those lines are, once you have them down, shouldn't be that hard for players of this caliber. We see them hitting them 99% of the time. Dexter has unfortunately made this the run one time in 100, where he chose to prove the lie in that, and is now 6 seconds behind the other three cars, trailing that pack up at the front. But it's not going to be a pack much longer. It is spreading out quite a lot. Scrappy off into the distant 4/10 ahead of Panda, heading into the identity with 3/10 then clear of Complex, keeping it clean along the beam so far. Scrappy safe to the end, is a little bit slower I think than Panda, but that will not matter. There's nowhere near enough track in order to gain. Panda only gains 1/2 tenth of that 3.5 tenth lead.
Yeah. I mean, we were praising last stage Sprout for being very good at having one team back up one team member backing up the other if a big mistake was made. Once again, Scrappy coming through for Dexter this time around. Sometimes it's the other way around, sometimes it's that way around. It seems like they just are very good at when the pressure is on, being able to just pick up points at the very least.
Yep, that was not the quickest round we've seen either yet on this map. World record currently sits at a 105.3. The Challenger League record set by Dexter in their first match of the competition, when it was going for that wide outside line into the bug slide. He is so quick on that one. He set a 105.5 earlier in the week. Will not be doing the same time in this round. Has now dropped a little bit behind Complex, but it is a close round so far.
Yeah, Complex and Panda stay in first and second position. I think they're going to be more formidable opponents here on this map than Ascent were. It looks that way at least. They seem relatively well prepared for this one. Dexter and Scrappy now trailing, not by much. Could all be made up, although Scrappy goes a little too inside and touches a wheel to the wall. Complex falls off the beam. Oh no! Panda falls off the beam. Dexter and Scrappy in a 1-2 position out of absolutely nowhere. It looks like it's going to be an ace for Sprout. orKs GP Numelops completely throw it away.
Ah, yes. A 107.004. His teammate a second and 2/10 behind the classic ace on Vortex. That's exactly what you expect to see. Panda and Complex, just as you were praising them, they did look like, you know, they knew what was going on the track. We expect Vortex to be picked at this point. It's not so much worked out for them on that round.
Yeah, you know, maybe just giving away 3 points to demonstrate that they can come back from tough positions. We'll see later on here in this series. It seems like Dexter, the only player, like we see one player in every lobby that goes for the outside on that dirt turn. Oh my, Scrappy, oh, he does not even get the reactor boost. He goes way too inside there. That's going to lose him a lot of time in this round. Complex also falling back as well. So Dexter versus Panda in that one. And as you can see, I mean, that timer is just going to get more and more for both of those players because you need speed for every single part of this map. You lose a little bit of speed, you're going to lose a lot over the course of the whole map.
Could be very, very tough indeed, and it is Panda who's taking full advantage of those mistakes at the moment. Currently 54.964 through that second to last checkpoint. Will be 101 through. It'll be a decent time. Will not be a new world record. Won't be a new Challenger League record. It'll be 105.853. It's not far off it, but it is going to be enough to win this round. Complex too far down to make any kind of impact on Sprout. That 3-point lead remains the same.
Yeah. Very good time, and although it wasn't really needed, 2.2 seconds separating from the second place time there. But Sprout, I mean, obviously a draw is absolutely fine for them. They're 3 points ahead already. All they need to do is coast their way through to the finish line now of this map. But it's looking good from both of them so far. Obviously, you know, mistakes notwithstanding, we're going to see a lot of those. Still only Playday 2.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Stream can't see the player decals at the moment. They're not loading in for whatever reason. They have loaded in fine for us on the cast. And I'm sure that'll happen pretty quickly here, at least in the next map anyway. At the moment, we get to admire the lovely country flags, all of these beautiful ones that Nadeo have provided us with. And aren't they gorgeous?
They are indeed. Obviously, lovely, vibrant colors.
I really like the Irish one. Genuinely.
Yeah, I think I mean, look, red, white, and blue is just the, you know, default, isn't it? That's most countries, so the Great Britain one is what it is. But either way, Scrappy now in first position, Complex and Panda keeping up and trying to put some pressure on, but obviously, I don't think pressure really comes into it when it comes to this identity. You just need to get that line correct, and as long as you get the first one right, the second and third should come naturally as well. Scrappy keeps the speed advantage over Panda and Complex, gets it done, and once again, really good time, a 105.7 within a couple attempts now of that Challenger League record, but just coming in clutch for Dexter there.
Yep, managing to hold on to it. Again, something you said does happen for this Sprout team almost more than any other team, is that if one player fails, the other one will be up at the front setting a very, very good time. Complex will not be setting a very, very good time this round. He'll still have the chance to get something done, only a second up behind the rest of the players in this one. Scrappy hanging a wheel on the way through the quarter pipe jump will mean he's a little bit behind Panda and Dexter, but here goes Dexter on his outside line, carrying so much speed through, and zooms back in front of Panda. Full bug slide and a quick exit. Dexter sailing off into the distance.
Yeah, if you get that outside line right and you bring the speed all the way through that next turn, you gain a lot of time, it seems. Panda, though, doing real well to gain back that first position and keep Dexter and Scrappy at bay. It's looking like, you know, both teams very good at just being able to, under pressure, when your teammate has made a mistake, stay in that position. Dexter hangs a wheel over the corner of that turn, and now it's Scrappy versus Panda trying to catch up. Scrappy has a little more speed in towards the identity, but not enough to catch up unless Panda makes a big mistake here. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Panda comes through with a first place. Dexter, I think, didn't have enough speed going through into the identity to take the line he wanted, had to respawn fully, and Complex takes third position.
Yeah, and that will be at least 1 point shaved off of Sprout's lead, but they still move to 7. They still move to the first track point of this match, and orKs and GP Numelops still have a little bit of work to do.
Well, now, in sight, no matter what, of that track win now here. Dexter and Scrappy with an ace could get it done. orKs, QP, Numelops only 2 points behind. Definitely doable as they move on through. And yeah, it does seem like Sprout not having quite the run of this map that they wanted to, especially that they did get against Ascent. A few more mistakes are creeping through for the team, but more importantly, orKs, QP, Numelops are making it a little more difficult for them. At least one of these players every round is putting together decent times and just making sure that Dexter and Scrappy don't get 3 points.
Yeah, that has very much been the case, and Dexter has been, struggling a little bit to close these rounds out cleanly. We do see him go for very aggressive lines a lot of the time on pretty much every map where it's even a remote possibility. Yeah. And when it works fantastically. He sets Challenger League records. He'll start to push for world records as the Challenger League stage stretches on as well. And on this round, it is working out perfectly. Scrappy got very close to a wall on the way through there, but not touching it means that he is safely through just about that identity. A little bit compromised and has a car close behind him, but is going to make it across the line. Dexter with a 105.7 will win this round. Any effort orKs, GP, Numelops made in the last round to close the gap between the two teams erased in an instant.
Yeah, now just need one more point, and they've got that free round in hand. orKs, GP, Numelops, no matter what, cannot win the map out here. That's an interesting start there from Dexter. Falls back, doesn't get quite into the track after the exit from that first spinny tabletop there, and the Scrappy now having to do a lot of work. But I mean, honestly, all good. A top 2 finish is all he needs, and very possible here. Panda and Complex are going to want to not let that happen. I mean, if they get that ace, it brings it back to a 9-9. Scrappy narrowly getting that reactor once again. Takes a really... I'm not sure if that line gains any time, honestly, going that far inside on that jump, but he risks it.
And it's been working. He is in the lead at the moment anyway, and will need to remain so. Dexter has fallen down. Well, Scrappy, he needs to at least remain in the top 2, if not the lead. There is 2 players of orKs, GP, Numelops here. They are ready, if a mistake does come through from Scrappy on this identity, to take the ace back, to tie us up at 9-9. Scrappy cannot afford to fall off this beam, will not do so. Clipping a wheel ever so slightly at the end is not going to be enough for orKs, GP, Numelops to bring it back. And with a 105.9, Scrappy will close out map 1 in favor of Sprout.
Yeah, and Scrappy, I think, definitely the MVP for that map, honestly. I think 3-4 rounds where Dexter came last, and Scrappy still managed to force a draw out of that one. So, brilliant performance there. And, for somebody who I think maybe a little bit of chatting from players saying that Scrappy wasn't practicing any of the maps, maybe a little bit chatting, but definitely really, really important points there. And Sprout take the first map, which is obviously exactly what they would want coming into this one. Going on to Control, we're going to have to see if Scrappy will bring together the same kind of performance.
And I'm just kind of thinking ahead to the future as well of Vortex, because we know Dexter is very good at that map. He's proved that already in the first match. Not a great performance in that particular map with, kind of Scrappy doing a lot of the heavy lifting, shall we say, for Sprout on that one. I kind of wonder if, even if that is a map they're comfortable on, should they be leaving it a little bit further down the pick order in order to give Dexter time to warm up a little bit? Because it's a map where he goes for very, very risky lines. He pushes very hard on that map, and giving him a chance to kind of settle into his groove a little bit more might make Vortex an even stronger map for them than it was there.
Yeah, I mean, that's very possible. I think that doesn't really come into... A lot of players I don't think about that. Obviously, we know that a lot of the time players will pick... Whoa! Dexter goes flying into the air. On my screen, it didn't look like he hit anything, just the air, but he has somehow found himself in a wall. And now Scrappy is down by half a second, going to find it difficult to pull off the same kind of heroics that he did last map.
Yeah, is going to have to get a lot done here. He's not really within range that going for a flat jump will gain him enough time to overtake, at least on the first jump, but it might get him a little bit closer. He'll still need a mistake from either of the players from Complex or Panda to get past them. There isn't a mistake. That is orKs, GP, Numelops looking clean on round 1 on Control. They pick up an ace, and it's on Sprout to catch back up now, but orKs, GP, Numelops on their own map pick. That's what you want.
Yeah, really nice time to start things off from Complex as well. And yeah, definitely an ace to start off the map is always lovely. We've talked about 5-1s before, but 3-0s are a very nice way to get going too. And maybe a 5-1, obviously, if they win this round. orKs, keeping Numelops. Dexter having a little bit of trouble on the start, it seems like. Losing about a 10th generally overall, that gets a little more exit speed.
Yeah, and well, that little bit of extra exit speed may not have served him well there, not quite able to make that turn. Scrappy, meanwhile, is overtaking Panda through these following turns and is gaining on Complex as well. Panda having dropped a little ways behind. It's up to Complex then to hold on to this lead. Into the bobsleigh we go for the first time this round, and Complex will hold on for a clean exit. Scrappy is slow, gets close to the outside wall. Panda right back in the mix.
Yeah, this is looking really good for orKs, Numelops at the moment. Scrappy and Dexter having a difficult time. Dexter, most of all, looks like he's having trouble warming up into this series so far. You know, really not putting together some of the performances that we would expect from that player. But now, Complex and Panda, all they need to do is capitalize off it, although Complex has to respawn. I don't think he was making it over that one, and he knew very quickly, so a quick respawn is good, but Panda is still going to take away that first place. Scrappy putting on the pressure, getting second. Dexter comes in third. That's exactly the kind of stop to orKs Numelops' momentum that they needed, but it's still not amazing.
Yeah, it would have felt very, very bad if they were down 6-0 after only the 2 rounds for them. Meanwhile, though, Numelops, they can't be upset with this. 4-1 is still a very strong start. After dropping the first map, still made Vortex look relatively competitive against Sprout, and we know how strong they were on that in their first match. This is a chance for orKs Numelops to tie the series up, to prevent any momentum building for Sprout as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see now. Sprout, obviously, you know, a very momentum-based team. I feel like that was a lot of their problems went on in this one, and for now, it's just not looking like they're getting into it right now. Dexter again takes a really suboptimal line. Scrappy finding it hard to keep up with the orKs players as well, and you've got to think if this carries on throughout this map, throughout the series, it's going to be really difficult to contend with orKs Numelops. Complex makes a big mistake that might just let them back into this round once again, but I mean, if orKs don't continue to make these mistakes, how is it going to be possible for Sprout to keep up?
I mean, that's a great question, Twiggy, but they might just keep making these mistakes, honestly.
Well,
that is an element of
that's a
Challenger
possibility.
League. It is definitely a possibility, and right now Panda is holding on to that lead and is looking good to pick up another round win for this one. Complex behind is still in front of Dexter, and that means this is still a potential ace. Scrappy is upside down, has to respawn. Complex 4 seconds behind his teammate, will still cross the line in second place.
We're very close to the Challenger League record there as well. Currently the 110.603 by McQuackshire, unless that got broken? I'm not quite sure if it got broken last time we saw them play, but either way, I think the 110... no, we got a 110.614 last time, so very close to it, but no cigar, so we're getting real close to that one right now. Honestly, Scrappy should have tried to turtle over the line. Would have got himself some points in the Wicked Championship as well. Complex has to respawn early.
Yeah, he's going to have to respawn a long way back from the other cars as well. We'll see what the gap is as we hit this checkpoint where exactly sits 5.7 seconds down. And Dexter and Scrappy have both managed to find a little bit of a lead over Panda as well. They were, in fact, tied as a team going through that previous one. They are hand in hand at the moment. They won't be anymore. Dexter will fall away. Scrappy can't pull him along with them. And Panda is going to chase down Scrappy as well.
And there is a lot of speed. It's a really nice turn as well, and completely pounces on Scrappy's inability to take the same kind of speed through that turn. Scrappy will catch up just a little bit at the end of the no-break section, but really, Sprout struggling here just a little bit. They're probably incredibly thankful the orKs are making the same kind of mistakes over and over again and losing a bit of time, because otherwise they would be completely in the mud at the moment. As it stands, they still only have 1 point. Scrappy barely makes it over the jump. I mean, Dexter is about to get there as well, but still just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, and they very much are about to lose their grip on this map in particular. It's 8-2 to orKs Numelops. Sprout, white knuckle they may be, clutching as tight as they can, getting a draw there, but a draw is as good as a win right now for Numelops. At 8-2, as long as they keep getting players to that line in the top 2, they're going to close this one out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's really important now that Sprout, at the very least, try and set some... I don't know what's going on with Dexter at the moment. I really don't. Generally, one of the more consistent players in the whole league, one of the fastest players in the whole league, having a really difficult time today, it seems like. Scrappy is doing a lot of the hard work at the moment, and even Scrappy can't keep up with orKs here on control. So it's a really difficult time for them now, and you've got to think, like, the way this map is going, it could really affect them mentally over the course of the whole series.
Here goes Scrappy through
Or
as well.
could just keep making, errors. That's fine.
Yeah, it won't matter. Again, they're still up 8-2. They're still in the position where they are looking to bring this one back level with Sprout. And honestly, what a story that's going to end up being for our season as well. Sprout, I'd still expect them to be a playoffs team. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You would have to. But orKs GP Numelops, this is a huge win for them if they could somehow upset Sprout today. And it will be Panda cruising through towards the first place, having overtaken Scrappy. Scrappy can't quite fight back. It is going to be a 10th behind, an 11-6-8-1 for Panda. Dexter will take 3rd place. Complex will end up in 4th. But again, a draw is good enough for orKs GP Numelops. They're on 9-3.
Now, 2 aces needed for Sprout on the trot just to catch up with orKs GP Numelops. And even then, they don't get a break whatsoever. If they give away a round win, it is over. So it's really difficult now. They need to be perfect here, especially considering that Panda and Complex have been, at the very least, teasing at really good times. Obviously there have been a couple of mistakes, but generally in the first half of the map, they are half a second ahead of the 2 Sprout players.
Yeah, have looked very close to maybe getting a Challenger League record as well. We may not get it. I think the map might end first unless it is this very round, because Panda is leading. Complex is going to crash all the way out at the back. He's going to be a long way down from the other players, but you just need Panda in the top 2. He's in top 1 right now, which is by definition in that top 2, with Scrappy making a mistake as well. Panda can go a little bit safer through this identity and through these final turns. He can allow Dexter past if it's what is needed in order to get across the line safely.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the end of this map, and a really unfortunate position for
Panda, no!
Maybe not. Dexter overtakes. Panda can't get it done. Scrappy keeps it clean. Maybe this is the first ace in a row for Sprout. It's exactly what they needed. I mean, we were saying that orKs were making mistakes over and over again this time around. It's a good time from Dexter. It's exactly... I mean, look, here's the thing. Dexter, over the course of this series so far, has not been setting good times whatsoever. That could break that streak, and now, with a nice scoreline, they can get this one done.
orKs GP Numelops should still have closed out the match there. There was a 2-second gap between Dexter and Scrappy up the top.
Oh, no,
they should easily have been able to slot at least one car in there to pick up the single point they need to win. They still only need a single point to win, but Dexter is on a charge. No early mistakes just yet. Complex versus Scrappy at the moment for 2nd place. And if Sprout get another one across the line, if they get another 1-2 ace, they bring us back level. I can't believe that that's the position we might end up being in right now, because orKs GP Numelops had done the work they needed to do to pick up this map win.
It's looking very possible. That 0.7 for Dexter.
No, never mind. Rip.
I was going to say that 0.7 for Dexter really could have bolstered his confidence, and then, yeah, I mean... Okay.
Yeah. All right, here we are. It's still... Look, Scrappy needs to hold off Panda and Complex and hope for mistakes from
both of them need to make mistakes, yes.
Large ones.
Hey, it happened last time. Hello.
There's
Panda's gone. Complex is still in it, though. Complex still holding on to 2nd position at the moment. Just needs to get the final jump done. Looks like that's going to be the case. All good. orKs GP Numelops make it a bit of a difficult time, but they get it done.
They will manage to get across the line. It'll turn out to be a draw in the final round. Final score of 10-7 in favor of orKs GP Numelops, and I'm excited. I'm always happy when we see teams challenging the top teams on the league. And at the end of the last season, those top 2 teams were, by some margin, Alternate Attacks and Sprout. And at the start of stage 2 here, both of those teams are having their struggles. Both of those teams are dropping maps in maybe ways we wouldn't expect them to. And if there is ever a time to pick up a big win over one of those two teams, it is going to be within the next week and a half. The fact that all of the start of this season is so condensed as well. We've already, this is, both teams playing 2 matches by the end of the first week, and it'll be 4 matches by the end of next week. Alternate Attacks and Sprout are going to be a little bit vulnerable for a while in terms of games played.
Yeah, definitely. Look, that was not an easy map to watch in any way, but hopefully now players have started to warm up into this one. We're seeing peaks of what we saw from Dexter, or what we expect to see from Dexter there, although another awkward start. And once again, I'm not sure what's going on. orKs GP Numelops are being given the opportunity to take this series away. All they need to do is grab onto it.
Yeah, exactly. Opportunity is one thing, but actually taking advantage is a whole different beast, especially against Sprout, right? Because they are very, very quick. The issue being that sometimes one of them does make that error that sends them a long way down the field. And this time around, Complex is managing to keep up with Scrappy. So is Panda. As quick as any of these players are, each of them is as quick as the other here on Pool. And we've seen some very, very good identities. We've seen some absolute disasters. It's up to each of these players to decide their own fate, to set the tone for the rest of this map.
Well, Scrappy trying to keep orcs at bay, as has been the case for this whole series so far. Having a difficult time of it right now, but doing well on that one. Ooh, touches the wall, but it's all good. He can stay in it. Takes some good exit speed through that one. May just be able to overtake both players. Oh my God. It comes down to the final checkpoint. 1,000th between the top three. Absolutely no time between Scrappy and Complex, but Complex goes over the final checkpoint before Scrappy does and gets first place. Somehow that's a round win for orcs.
Never in my life have I seen a round where 3 of the 4 players are within 1,000th, 1,000,000th of a second between them, and 2 of them tied. Absolutely.
It's not name diff, guys. It's not
insane.
It's not name diff.
Listen, don't listen to Twiggy. It's absolutely
not how it
100%
works.
name diff, okay? That's what's happened. Scrappy will fly into a pole. Either way, it definitely won't be name diff this time around. It isn't name diff. It is down to the last checkpoint. Who got through that one first? And on that occasion, it was Complex, or was it? It was one of them got there first. I don't know. They were all within 1,000th of each other. It was very hard to tell.
Yes, it was difficult to tell. Wild round. I mean, you're not going to see anything like that for a while, I don't think. That is a once-in-a-blue-moon experience, unless this round it happens once again. Who knows? Dexter now contending with Panda on Complex on this one. Goes a little more inside on that. Takes good exit speed. Really good exit speed. But Panda, he doesn't slide out. Tries to get that overtake done, but Dexter comes through in first place and keeps Sprout 1 point away from ork's Numelops once again.
Solid time from Dexter. 105.7 is nice. Could be nicer. We'd love to see someone getting down into those 105.5s, and I trust all 4 of these players have it in them after those first couple of rounds. They're definitely looking very, very quick.
Oh, Dexter again.
An early mistake once again from Dexter will send him a second behind the other 3.
I mean, he's had 2 rounds where he's set good times so far at the moment. Like, I don't want to bring too much attention to the dynamic that's going on, but Sprout are having a difficult time because Dexter is making a lot of mistakes. That is the reality of the situation. And, look, ork's oh no, wicked point at the very least.
Wicked point for
yeah,
sure.
We'll see where he ends up. But ork's Numelops, they have the golden opportunity right now. They're not playing insanely well, right? They are not. If they were up against, for instance, alternate attacks, or any mid-table team, I feel like at the moment, they'd still be struggling for points. Sprout are giving them these.
Yeah, but again, ork's Numelops, excuse me, are taking advantage. We said that's still the difficult part. They're maybe not driving the fastest rounds we've ever seen, but they are driving fast enough rounds to keep out of Sprout's clutches. Scrappy is within a second of the lead here. He's 5/10 behind. He's gaining on the 2 cars in front, but he won't get close enough. And a 106.1 is not a very quick round on Pool, but they come away with an ace. They're 6-2 up, and I'm impressed by ork's Numelops and how calm they are playing this.
Yeah, it really is genuinely impressive. It's looking... look, hey, if you're given the opportunity, take it. Grab it with both hands, and that's what they're doing right now. Sprout have just had a really difficult time keeping any consistency, just a tinge of it whatsoever at the moment. Panda and Complex, all they need to do is keep it going. Once again, Dexter, his wheel touches the checkpoint. He falls down by a full second on this one. Complex and Panda again have an opportunity to extend that lead. Oh, well.
Well, not
anymore.
So much. Complex has crashed out a little bit, is going to now be behind Dexter as well, and Dexter has regained. Dexter has overtaken Scrappy. Panda is off in the lead, and Dexter, with just good, fast, aggressive driving, has managed to catch back up to the leaders of this round. And it is set to be a draw at the moment, but the identity is set to change all of that.
Yeah, Panda, all he needs to do is keep it clean. Honestly, 2 non-risky lines would be absolutely fine at this point, but Panda goes straight in for the risky line to start off with. Dexter gets more speed, but clips a wheel right at the end once again. Stays back a little bit, hits the box, falls back further. Might not even be a draw at this point, but Dexter gets a good, quick respawn and stays ahead of Complex just about. Panda stays in first place, but it's a draw. 7-3 now.
And look, we have been highlighting that Dexter has made quite a few mistakes, and we wouldn't be doing so if it wasn't so unusual, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dexter does go for very aggressive lines. He's one of the players who looks to set the fastest times in the Challenger League, but usually he's very, very good at being consistent while doing that, driving very quickly and still managing to get a lot of round wins because he does not crash on out. Seeing Dexter make this many mistakes is worth remarking on because it is so unusual, and it is costing the team right now.
Yeah, it genuinely is. That last map was costed through mistakes from Sprout. This map has so far is going that way as well. It does look like that right now. Scrappy is having to do a lot of work at the moment, and that is generally throughout stage 1 at the very least was not Scrappy's role in the team. He is not used to having to do that, I don't think. And although he's doing a good job of it right now, getting valuable points for the team and keeping it close with orKs GP Numelops, it's not enough right now, you know? Oh, and there it is. Scrappy falls out once again. Dexter now up in the top 3, up against Panda and Complex, but Panda and Complex have been consistent so far. It may be Dexter with the win, but draws are good enough for orKs GP Numelops. Really good round from Dexter.
Wow.
Really good. But again, it's one at a time for Sprout, you know? Only one player gets through with a good time.
I think that is the fastest round that both Numelops players have driven so far in this match, and Dexter still is able to do a time that beats them both by 1/10.5. He's that quick. He is that quick. I know. This is why we're upset as well a little bit about seeing Dexter do it. We know the skill is there. We know these guys are fast. That's within a couple of tenths of the Challenger League record. It's within, you know, half a second easily of the Grand League record as well. And yet still they're trailing 8-4. orKs GP Numelops, they're driving well. They both set 106s in that last round. That's very impressive. That's very quick. And yet it doesn't feel like they're doing anything particularly special in these rounds to pick up the wins because they haven't needed to. They're making the smart decision and they're getting safely to the end of the rounds, and it's working for them. This is a round where they may need to drive quickly to get the win, but they've put themselves in the position where this first round where they're going to drive well, where they're going to outdrive Sprout, is going to be enough to pick up the map win.
No.
It might have been if they'd gotten there cleanly, but under pressure, Panda will make a mistake. Unfortunately, that means this is potentially a draw, potentially even a round win for Sprout, as Complex will manage to get across the line first on 105.455 is monstrous from Complex on that round.
And the first round where both Scrappy and Dexter get really good times there, it's denied. Completely.
Yeah. I mean, look, Dexter did it to them last round. It's only fair that Complex does it to them on this round.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is heartbreaking. The thing is, Sprout, you can tell they're starting to slowly warm up into this one. Dexter has been a lot more consistent this map than he was in the first 2. There goes Scrappy. Dexter is already a second behind. It's over.
Yep, that should be it. You can drive safely enough. You have a second to play with. In fact, you have more than a second to play with 2 cars up here and only needing a single car in the top 2. You have 9 seconds to play with right now because that's how far Scrappy is behind, and Sprout need an ace right now. Dexter is gaining a little bit. I say he has started to drop back once again, and Panda and Complex look to go up against Sprout on Sprout's map pick here on pool. It'll be orKs GP Numelops who moves to 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, we thought this was going to be a close series. I did not think it was going to be close, but with orKs having the favor in that one. orKs had a difficult time against BS Plus competition. They really didn't look like the same team they were last stage, but with Sprout, you know, making a lot of mistakes, like a lot. Way more than we would expect from any Challenger League team, honestly, at the moment. It's looking pretty trivial for them.
Yep. 12-5 is honestly not a scoreline I expected to see in favor of orKs GP Numelops in this match, but they have managed to pick it on up. And once again, let me stress how exciting this win would be for our stage 2. orKs GP Numelops were a good team, I think, especially at the start of last stage. They were sitting on kind of like, I think they were 3-1 at one point, and then unfortunately ran into some teams who were really feeling themselves towards the end of the stage and ended up on 3-4 instead. Picking up a win over Sprout here in, you know, the first week of gameplay for stage 2 would be absolutely massive for their stage.
Yeah, and well, For Sprout, it's not over whatsoever. Best of 7 means you got a lot of opportunities to warm up into a series. Obviously, they've made it difficult for themselves now, but can still get this one done. They're only 1 map behind, and, you know, we know they have the quality to be able to bring this one back without dropping a single map after this. But now on Off-Road, another map which really punishes bad consistency. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
You know, until you'd said, you know, they have the ability to bring it back and win multiple matches, I genuinely hadn't occurred to me to remember that Sprout were the first team in the Challenger League to pull off a reverse sweep in this format.
Yeah.
And, like,
yeah.
they're not
Well,
even in that dire of a situation. They're not even in that dire of a situation, right? Just because Sprout starts slowly is no guarantee that they'll end slowly. And again, we talked earlier about how as an underdog, when you get a lead, you need to take full advantage while the going is good, because there's no guarantee that it lasts. I really do feel like this is one of those situations. orKs, GP, Numelops, I think they have to close it out 4-1, or I'm not convinced they're going to close it out at all.
Yeah, I mean, Sprout is starting off really well so far. They looked a little shaky on this map last time they played it, but that is really good. That's an amazing way to start it. That's a Challenger League record immediately from Dexter. He's back. He had 3 maps to warm up, and he's here. That is a full 800ths on the Challenger League record, previously set by Wosal of 59.625. Wow, okay. That's, you can start off a series, well, you can start off a map that way. Definitely did not start the series that way.
That is so fast from Dexter. Yeah, I mean, took a while to get there, and then Dexter just casually sets a Challenger League record, and you're like, oh yeah, that's Dexter. That makes sense. Sure, he'll go for it, and we'll see. Can he go for it again? It is going to be a much closer race so far. At least it was, up until we lose Scrappy. Dexter, I back him to win this round and turn it into a draw anyway, but I'd really love to see orKs, GP, Numelops turn it into an ace and bring this one back level. This match deserves some tight affairs.
Yeah, look, we know when Dexter gets going, things start to get tough for the opposition very often. The man had several world records by the end of stage 1, and yes, most, you know, all of those pretty much came within the last 3 weeks. But we know that he's capable. If you look at the online world records at the moment, Dexter holds all but one of them still, I think, to this day. Obviously, some of the times are going to be hidden from some of the teams, but still really good. Panda and Complex, though, fire back with their own 59.62, oh, sorry, 642 and 59.651, which, yeah, okay. Consistency sometimes beats pace there. That is really good from both of them.
That is it. Look, it's pace as well as consistency.
Well, yeah,
they were both very quick there on that round. They held hands all the way to the finish line, and it's what I asked for in some ways. I said, hey, I'd still love to see more fast times. I'd be impressed to see Dexter pull that one back and force a draw, but I'm also happy to see our teams tied back up. I love a close race, and orKs, GP, Numelops, they are giving us that right now.
Yeah, it's got to feel a little bad for Sprout. The first time they were really able to, you know, get a full kind of, 3 points over orKs, GP, Numelops and actually keep them at bay. Suddenly, it's completely fired back. An early mistake from Scrappy, and then Dexter just not quite being able to keep up with the blistering pace of orKs, GP, Numelops that round. Now they've got to grind their way back through to it again. This time around, Scrappy a much better start. Dexter still struggling for pace just a little bit from Complex and Panda, but now important that they get this one done. Complex and Panda love holding hands through this one. They're just so consistent with their lines. It seems like Scrappy keeps them at bay. However, for the time being, it's going to be down to the last turn. Neither of them seem to gain.
Panda
Complex
respawned.
has to respawn.
Sorry,
Panda
Complex.
just about almost catches up with Scrappy. We're getting consistent 59.6s right now.
Yeah, I saw a red card disappear. I took the 50-50 shot and I guessed wrong. You know what? Fair enough. Sprout will win a round, and 59-6s, as you say, coming through consistently is incredibly impressive on this one. Players saving up their energy for map 4 of the
Sandbagging
series.
2 rounds, yeah.
And in this one, they come out swinging, and then Dexter hits a... I'm just going to stop viewing Dexter on that one in sadness.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. The thing is, right, look, we know Sprout, I think... I think we said this many times during stage 1. Whereas alternate attacks were a team that were incredibly consistent, but not as fast as Sprout. Sprout were a team that were very fast, but not as consistent as alternate attacks. This is a completely different level of inconsistency from Sprout. Like, they've set some really good times. Obviously, now new challenger record on this map, but at the same time, really not good enough to contend with most Challenger League teams right now. Like, in today, they looked really good in their first Playday against Ascent. This is not the same Sprout.
Yeah, and Dexter is still caught up, by the way.
Yeah,
I
mean, that's amazing.
Off the way through. That's just Dexter
Prove
being Dexter and Quick will still end up in fourth place, but made a race of it in the end anyway, and that is a 6-6. Again, the time is quick, 59.7. This is, I think, easily the best match that we've had on off-road so far in Challenger League.
Definitely. Now to that 6-6 scoreline. Nobody can close it out right here, but you can definitely get yourself as close as possible. Getting yourself to 9 points in this situation is absolutely amazing for you as a team, because you just get that free pass in the next round, being able to do stuff well. Scrappy gets a little slow start. It's not the end of the world, but down by a few tenths at this point. Dexter is the one holding off the two orcs players right now, but Panda putting together some good speed once again, almost clips that light pole, but Dexter stays in first place for the time being. The ice slide is good from all players. I think Dexter gets a lovely amount of speed on there, but Panda gets more through there, overtakes into first position. Dexter, where did he go? I have no clue whatsoever. There he is, he's back. It's all good. Scrappy right behind.
Dexter jump scare.
Complex in second place still, though, and it may just be the end of this round as an ace once again towards orKs Numelops, just due to brilliant pace. Complex has a difficult time getting through the trees, but again, a 59.6. You're having to set mid 59 times to guarantee a victory here.
Yeah, this is by far the quickest match that we've had so far on Off-Road and Challenger League, and the fact that both teams are there is massive. Scrappy touches a wall on the very first turn and will fully crash. Not enough speed to make that jump. It's hard to even think of it as a speed check because we so rarely see it manage to check anyone, but it is one nonetheless, and Scrappy now a long way down. Panda with a small error is going to drop back as well, but this is again the exact same situation we had at the end of one of our previous maps where orKs Numelops have two players up at the front. They only need one in the top two, and Scrappy is over 10 seconds behind.
Man, this is heartbreaking to see. It really is. It's actually hard to watch right now as Complex soars into first place. Dexter struggling to keep up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You know, Sprout need an ace right here. It's going to be very difficult for that to happen. Both orKs Numelops would have to drop 13 seconds to even give them a chance. No. Dexter finds his way into a tree. It's over. It's going to be 12-6 to orKs Numelops here. Another great time, 59.7. This series is not going the way I thought it would at all.
No, absolutely not. And if there's, we don't talk about it a huge amount, but you know, mental game is a huge part of Trackmania as well.
Yeah.
And Sprout are a team that I think if they get inside their own heads, if they start to lose a match that maybe they feel like they should be winning, it's going to be tough for them to come back. Yeah. I say that they still were the only team to pull off, or the first team at least to pull off a reverse sweep
however,
the Challenger League.
I do recall them talking about at some point, I can't remember who it was or what they said about it specifically, but it was, you know, we were like mentally completely out of it by the time, you know, we lost 3 maps to Ominous, and the only reason we got back into that series is because they gave us a map, and then suddenly we were like, okay, let's try our best to bring this one back.
Absolutely. And I'll say it, I think Sprout, their gameplay on off-road there, despite starting off very strong, Dexter managed to set a new Challenger League record in the first round of that map with a 59.4, was incredibly quick. But from there on out, the rounds just didn't look as clean for them. And orKs Numelops, this time around, unlike Pool, where they were consistent, but maybe not absolutely stellar in terms of the pace that they were driving, they were absolutely fantastic on pace there on off-road as well, and left no room for Sprout playing kind of even slightly off the pace, playing even slightly away from their peak to get back into it. And orKs Numelops, they have a deserved 3-1 lead right now. They are looking to close this match out on map 5.
Oh, man.
But everyone has crashed on the first round.
That is a wealth of mistakes going on there, and it gives Sprout that 1-2. And again, as I said, they were given a map in that reverse sweep that they got, and that's what enabled them to take that one all the way through. Maybe orKs Numelops, if they give this one away, Sprout can get themselves back into that mental state to be able to take back the series, and right now they're looking on track for that ace. Panda very close behind, takes a little less penalty snow, but at the end doesn't really matter. You're going to have to put together a clean identity. The identity for Sprout on the last time they played this map was not clean whatsoever, but can they do it this time when they need it the most? First part completely fine from both of them. Panda is catching up, but there goes Dexter. Panda goes into a wall. Maybe it's still possible, but Complex soars on through. Scrappy with a good time, a 1:15.4, but Complex gets through. Dexter can't get back into third position. It's a draw to start things off.
Yep. I have seen draws before, and that is certainly one of them.
One of them.
One of the draws of all time to kick things off here. Maybe a round like that will kickstart Sprout's comeback. Maybe, you know, they just need to have a quick laugh, just relax and be like, oh yeah, no, this is still Challenger League. Anything definitely can still happen here. And if we just try to drive our own game, if we just try to keep to our own pace, we should be okay in this one. orKs GP Numelops, though, they've had the pace all match long, even when Sprout are trying to push them to stay competitive. And this round is much more competitive so far.
Yeah, and again, I mean, as you say, you know, a golden opportunity for them to run away with the points there. Thrown away this time around once again. Panda, he's hit those signs. He's gone back into 4th position by a long way. Scrappy being given, you know, a godsend there, already down half a second, able to find himself in the top 3 in this one. Dexter soaring out in front. Complex trying to catch up at this point. Going to be difficult unless something goes wrong in the water. Dexter falls back now. Once again, things looking difficult for Sprout. Complex goes into 1st position. Scrappy too far back to catch up at this point, barring any kind of error from Complex, who just takes it safe, gets all the way through. Scrappy comes through to a 2nd place finish. Dexter should still be ahead of Panda on this one and does finish in 3rd place. But again, that draw, and it's just compounding these issues for Sprout, because right now draws are great for orKs. You know, they're 2 maps ahead of Sprout. Even if it goes down to a 9-9 at the end of this one, it doesn't matter if they lose the map.
And that was a much faster round, it has to be said, as well that time around, as it was 113.8. orKs GP Numelops continued to show that they have the pace, getting within a half a second of the Challenger League record at the moment there. And hey, I mean, it's a lot of work for Sprout to get back into this match, and they need to start doing it soon, because you get the feeling that if Numelops are allowed to, they will run away with another map.
Yeah, well now, again, another close start to things. Obviously, this is the first kind of place where things can go horribly wrong, and inside lines from everybody are all fine. Dexter stays in 1st position. Scrappy still in 4th. Panda and Complex really contending for that one, trying to put pressure on the Sprout players, who have been really, subject to a lot of pressure over the course of this series. They haven't been given really any free kind of points out of orKs whatsoever, whereas they've been giving away free points. There we go. There's something that they can work with. Complex falls back. Panda in 2nd place now. Maybe just being able to split apart these players. Maybe just trying to put some more pressure on Dexter here. Actually gets closer. Dexter falls off once again. Panda takes the maximum amount of speed. Scrappy can't get back up there. A 13.99 is a good time. Dexter gets 3rd place just about. Another draw.
What did we say earlier in this series, Twiggy? We said that when opportunity is given, you still have to take advantage of it. orKs GP Numelops have done a wonderful job of doing that when Sprout leave them opportunities to score points, to build up a lead. The other direction, not quite the same for Sprout, and that's unusual. That's something Sprout were very, very good at last season, forcing draws a lot of the time and then pouncing on opportunities of their own. But Scrappy with another mistake there. Here's an opportunity for Numelops to get it done, to open up a lead for the first time on map 5. Can they be the ones to break this drawing deadlock?
Yeah, at the very least, Sprout making it difficult for orKs to run away with this series now. All they need to do is get across the line one more time and get that one done. It's a slow exit from the ice there for Panda. He falls back into 3rd position, may get overtaken by Scrappy as well, but I don't think it was that big of a mistake. Scrappy down by 1 second to his teammate at this point. Dexter scrambling for more points, but once again, this is a draw position. Yeah, that's all it seems like he can get out of it. 4/10 separating 3rd and 4th. Oh no, Panda goes under the wires there. Scrappy falls out as well. Complex has respawned. Dexter is soaring on through in 1st place. Panda trying to keep up now. Scrappy down by 8 seconds. Complex down by 7. Dexter gets through in the finish line. It's all good. A 13.6 is a nice time as well. But once again, it's looking like a draw.
Star orKs GP Numelops going to be able to take advantage of mistakes from Sprout? The answer is a resounding, a very loud nope. Not this time around anyway. 4 draws in a row. Just more chances for chat to make fun of our accents, Twiggy.
Absolutely. Draw.
Draw.
Draw. It's a draw. It's a draw, governor. Anyway,
Complex. I love art. Who's your favorite drawer?
Who is my favorite drawer? I'm sorry, but we say it in a much better way than Americans do. I'm very sorry, but draw is not draw.
I don't know if that's an American accent. Let's focus back on the game, because I do not want to hear that American accent ever again in my life.
Okay, you will never have to. Either way, Panda, first place for now at this point. I don't like what was posted in chat right now. That made me uncomfortable. Complex falls out on the ice. You're going to have to look back at the VOD to see what I saw in chat at that moment. Scrappy and Dexter now in a 1-2 position. To be fair, I started that one. Anyway, Dexter and Scrappy now actually able to get some points out of this one. Let's break this deadlock. 4 draws in a row at this point, and now 5 tenths separate Panda from the top 2 players here, Scrappy and Dexter, getting on through. Can they get this one done? Barring any mistakes, once again, Dexter has made a lot of mistakes here on this identity, but Panda makes it even more simple for them. They just need to get it done. All simple, very good. Here we go. We finished it off. We actually got past this. Very good times from both players. Actually got past the draw situation. 7-4 now the scoreline. Sprout may be able to claw their way back into this round.
And that is the right way to break the deadlock as well, with an ace to move a long way ahead, with both players keeping it clean. And breaking is a map that I was impressed with, Sprout on last time we saw them on it. I think their identity is very good. They have the ability to push quite hard if they are in close battles as well. And so the fact that this has been so messy so far from both teams has kind of robbed us a little bit of seeing that ability from Sprout. But it does also mean that if both of them get cleanly to that identity with a bit of space to the other cars, you should expect them to be able to win that round fairly handily.
Yeah, well, orKs, Numelops, I mean, despite the fact that they have, you know, done very well in terms of consistency overall and being able to pounce on mistakes that Sprout have made, they haven't got a lot of aces so far, honestly. You know, Dexter and Scrappy have had, at the very least, a decent time of being able to force points out of a round. And now, you know, maybe that will get them over the line. Who knows? It's only a 3-point gap, and that is very much possible to take back. Right now, Complex and Panda are in first and second, although Scrappy gets a very, very good section of the penalty snow there. Dexter moves on through into second place, but it's going to be a close round no matter what. It's going to force some interesting lines out of everybody. Dexter gets a really nice line. Panda also getting it good as well. Complex catches up a little more. Dexter getting a good wiggle through there. Can keep second place at the very least, but orKs Numelops make up 1 point out of that. A brilliant round.
Exactly what I said at the top of this round, Twiggy. Sprout are so good at this identity. I've felt robbed up until that point of seeing them able to push at that point, and Dexter is the player who can make it up. Unfortunately, no, I thought someone had crashed out there. No, we're totally fine. It is Scrappy having to release. He has crashed out now. But look, Numelops can't win on this round. We get at least one more round if they ace here, and it would bring us down to the photo finish, and orKs Numelops with the chance to close it out over Sprout in a 4-1.
Yeah, well, Dexter stays in first position, wanting to stop orKs Numelops from gaining any points on them. The worst case scenario here is that orKs do manage to... I mean, no matter what, if orKs get points, things get a bit awkward, right? You just want to close out this map right here. You're already 2 maps down. This is really bad. Dexter in second place and just trying to get those couple of points, but with Scrappy down a full second, or maybe it's possible now as Scrappy will move up. Oh, no, not quite move up, but get a lot closer.
You're right, it is a very awkward situation to be in here, as Complex is trying to chase down Dexter. Panda is sitting in third place at the moment, and Dexter, you'd expect him to close it out from here. He is going to slow down quite a lot around those final turns, but there's no way Complex is catching back up. Panda will hit third place. Sprout move to 9, and on a 9-7, we get a winner on this map. We may get a match winner. Twiggy, I said it. I think orKs Numelops needed to close this match out 4-1, or it's going to be very difficult, and that means an ace right now.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are with Sprout at the moment. Obviously, both of them would have to make a mistake, or orKs would both have to put together an amazing time to get this one done right now. But, you know, you never know what's going to happen, especially in this series. It has been back and forth. It has been a roller coaster of emotions for both teams at the moment, mostly for Sprout, though. And right now, Panda and Complex in the positions that they need to be to finish out the series.
Panda and Complex sit comfortably in front at the moment. I say comfortable, it's only a couple of tenths, and look at how
nice
fast
lines.
Scrappy is around that outside. It leaves him very high on the wall, though, and that loses him a little bit more speed, and then sends him into the wall as well. Scrappy out of the battle for first place at the moment, but they still only need one player in the top two, and that player could yet be Dexter.
It could, down by 1.6 tenths right now. Complex crashes out, but so does Dexter. Scrappy moves into second place. He can still do it. He's down by a second, but it's still possible. Oh, Panda goes out. Oh, man, it's over. Surely Scrappy doesn't crash now. Surely it's all over. Sprout have done it. It is indeed Sprout taking the map. It's now possible for them to take back this series. I don't believe what my eyes are seeing. A 1:14.8 is the time that closes out breaking here, but we do move through into map 6.
I love Challenger League. I love Trackmania Esports, and I love, in particular, this match. It has been very, very close, and I guess we'll see, right? Will my theory hold up? Do orKs, GP, Numelops, have they just lost their shot at managing to pick up a win over Sprout here early in the season? We're heading to Airwalk. It's a map that all of the players at this point should have practiced. We sound like a broken record saying it, but Airwalk has been picked early in every match so far. And seeing it here on track 6, it's late, honestly, for Airwalk, but the players should still be ready for it.
You would hope so. I mean, orKs are going to be thinking, we could have done that. We really could have. We could have closed it out right there. There was the possibility in that last round as well for them to do that one. Just a couple of tiny mistakes, give away those points, and now Sprout have an opportunity. Maybe that is the kick that they needed in the behind for them to actually be able to get going on this one. It's been a horrible series from what we expect from Sprout so far, but can they now get it done now that they've been given that opportunity?
Dexter is at least starting off strong. Early on in this series, it was a lot of mistakes from Dexter that were costing them. This time, a mistake from Scrappy will cost them an opening round, potentially win. At the very least, they'll settle for a draw right now, deny as many points as possible from orKs, GP, and Numelops, but Panda has managed to overtake. This one is going to be tight all the way towards the end, it looks like, as Dexter is close behind. Complex getting a little bit of airtime, has dropped back a couple more tenths. These players are swapping positions like they are Pokemon cards in the year 2000, and it is Panda and Complex who have come away the victors in this one. The Aces, the shiny Charizard, and they are on track for it.
The year 2000, the year 2020, more like. Oh my lord!
Fair point.
Let's see the resurgence. Complex
Complex
has a difficult time getting over, but they get the ace that they had in their hands there. And again, Sprout just finding it really difficult.
Yeah, but nobody swaps Pokemon cards anymore.
We're calling that okay? Yeah, sure. Actually, no,
yeah, he finished backwards.
No,
he finished backwards.
Okay, I agree. Calm down. Okay, I agree. Calm down.
I am ready to argue with you at the drop
sorry,
of a hat
which one was
for no
it? Panda
reason.
or Complex? I don't recall.
Someone will tell you. Panda, unfortunately, will bounce awkwardly off the first bumper and will not be participating in the rest of this race for at least a little while. A second behind the front three cars. Sprout will have a chance to make up for their round one ace and maybe get an ace of their own. orKs, GP, Numelops, and Complex in particular looking to deny the points again.
Yeah, well, now possible for Sprout to bring something back, and you know the pressure is really mounting. They performed well-ish under the pressure last map. Can they do it again this time? The problem is starting down from 3-0, really difficult situation to be in. Panda luckily has given them an opportunity to get things going, but Dexter hits a wall. He falls back a little further. He's not going to be contending with Complex for the time being. Maybe even Panda can catch up at this point. Scrappy just trying to keep a hold of second place, maybe get first place in hands. Wheel clip again and falls back, and maybe won't even have enough speed to get a good finish here. Falls behind Dexter at this point. It doesn't even hit the bumper. He misses that one. Complex gets on through. Dexter manages to get second place and give his team 1 point, but Panda gets third, and the round win again to orKs, GP, Numelops.
Yeah, Scrappy is still trying to figure out what happened on that jump. A similar miss in the second, maybe even third time of asking, and then we'll do a slow barrel roll. Have you ever seen a sad barrel roll before, Twiggy? Because now you have.
There you go. It sounds like something you'd see on a Wikipedia clone site, but but for not so safe for work things. Either way, Dexter and Scrappy now have a really difficult difficult operation ahead of them. What is it that we were saying? The 5-1 scoreline, so difficult to come back from on this one. And here it is on the map point, sorry, the series point for orkGP Numelops once again.
I said maybe they weren't going to be able to close this one out if they ended up dropping a single map after getting to 4-1, and yet here they are making it look, I'm not going to say easy just yet because they are still having to fight for it, but they are showing that they are a potentially top Challenger League team. The times are good, the consistency is there with Dexter crashing again. This could be orkGP Numelops extending their lead from 5-1 to something even more comfortable.
Yeah, well, Scrappy trying to stop that from happening now. Just trying to make it a draw at least. Panda has to release just a tiny bit to stop himself from slamming into a pole now. Scrappy and Complex in first and second position, just trying to get a better finish here. Here it goes. Scrappy has got a better line. Can get through to that finish line, but Complex has got a beautiful line. It's so close between the two of them. Scrappy is the one that takes that finish, and Sprout managed to close the distance back to 3 points.
And Panda will come back across the line in 4th place, but it is going to be a round win for Sprout. They are back, as you say, within 3, and Ace would tie things up again. And orkGP Numelops, I want to see them close it out, right? I'd be delighted if Sprout brought us to map 7. It'd be entertaining as all hell. But for orkGP Numelops and for what it means for the season, a win here is just massive, and it's going to force Sprout to really think about the rest of this stage as well. They're going to have to push a little bit harder. Scrappy making a mistake early on. Panda with a bigger one is even further back. It's Complex versus Dexter at the front, and we'll revisit the fight for 3rd place probably about 10 seconds after these two cross the line.
It does seem that way at the moment. Dexter and Complex now fighting for that first position, that really important first position for Sprout, just to deny Orcs some extra points on this one, or at the very least close the gap a tiny bit. I mean, it's really difficult still for them to get this one done. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, just about, but orkGP Numelops are 1 point away from being on that final scoreline that they need to be to cross that finish line. Dexter, he's losing time to Complex towards the identity here. Complex gets a more inside line, gets some airtime, and that may screw up his entry actually into the identity. No, he gets it done. Dexter just about hits that bumper. Complex, oh my lord! Oh, that was so close to overtaking with the insanely flat line there. Scrappy should get 3rd place here, but still, you know, orkGP Numelops have made it to 7 points.
They've made it to 7. Sprouts trail on 5, eating a little bit further into that lead. They're only 2 points behind now. That was so nearly the perfect line somehow from Complex in order to get a snipe onto Dexter. Just about hitting a wheel off the entry on the way towards the line. And what a snipe it would have been. It's all hypothetical, though. It didn't happen. orkGP Numelops within an ace of managing to beat Sprout.
Yeah, and it's starting off really nicely for them as well. Complex already out by 1/10 on this one. Panda closely trailing behind. Scrappy gets an interesting entry into that one. Gives him a little more exit speed, but not quite enough to catch up with the two Orcs players. At this point, Dexter trailing by half a second already. Things are looking real dire right now. It could just be the ace to close it out right here, right now. Even if it isn't, Sprout is still going to have a difficult time getting back into this one. It's getting closer and closer to that scoreline, and they're still not able to put together anything convincing.
I think even a draw here is probably not good enough for Sprout. They've won the last 2 rounds. They've managed to shrink that lead from 4 to 2, but it remaining at 2 as orkGP Numelops move up to 8 points could be disaster. Here
Scrappy
comes Dexter.
miss.
Scrappy
Dexter
miss. Panda and Complex have done it with an ace in the final round from 7 points to 10. orkGP Numelops in the regular season will beat Sprout 4 maps to 2.
I'm speechless. I can't... 4-2?
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Twiggy.
Dexter did a barrel roll at the end, so he gets one. They may not have gotten many points today, but at least they got a couple of wicked points. That's all
They
I'm
really
saying.
didn't. Dexter got a couple of Challenger League records. Once again, an uncharacteristically Mistake-filled day for Dexter, unfortunately, and hopefully we see that cleaned up, because Dexter, when he's playing well, is one of the most entertaining things about Challenger League, right? He's so quick, he's so aggressive, and he still manages to get to that finish line 90% of the time without error. And orkGP Numelops, again, full credit goes to them. When your opponent has an off day, when their players as good as the players on Sprout are, it can still be difficult to take advantage of that. And they drove their own race, right? They were still very fast. On some of the maps, they were superlative. On off-road, they were absolutely fantastic. And they managed to take advantage of like a little bit of a dip in Sprout's performance, even if it was only a small dip.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, you mentioned the word before, uncharacteristic from Sprout completely. I mean, like, we've seen them be inconsistent before. That's not new to us, right? Sprout, the thing is, they've always had the pace and at least some consistency to be able to outdo the mid-table teams in this one. And orkGP Numelops, after having a 1-4 series against BS Plus competition, were looking solidly a mid-table team to start off with, at the very least, in the weekday games that we had. I did not expect Sprout to have a difficult time in this series. Not only did they have a difficult time, they barely even had a time. They just weren't getting anything done. It's really sad to see off of that one, because it's not a team you expect for that to happen for.
Well, after 2 full rounds of play, the Challenger League standings table is in chaos. Alternate Attacks and Exalti, the two teams that sit atop the table, both of them on 2-0. A slightly better match record for Alternate Attacks leaves them clear at the top for the moment. There are 4 teams then tied on 1-1. BS Plus competition, Sprout, orkGP, Numelops, and Omino Sun. And Sprout, I think, maybe the team that looks out of place there, but also a good start from BS Plus competition. And then I'm maybe not surprised, but a little bit disappointed to see Ascent and Easy Dream both sitting on 0-2. I think both of them could have won matches in these opening 2.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be a really tight affair all the way around. I think, Alternate Attacks are very much still kind of on point, but even they have cracks in their armor. Easy Dream got 2 maps against them today. Look, this could be a really, really tight finish, not only for, mid-table things, not only for promo relegation, could be a really tight finish for the top 2, could be a really tight finish for playoffs overall. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. It's not like Sprout didn't have the same kind of start last season. Let's not pretend that Sprout, it's out of the ordinary for them to have a slow start to a season. But at the same time, we didn't think that was going to happen, because they got a 4-1 in their first week.
Absolutely. And of course, the Challenger League will continue next week. But don't forget that we do now have those midweek games. So things will be kicking off at 7 p.m. Central European Summertime with Easy Dream versus Ascent. That will be on Wednesday. And the same is true on Thursday. And then, of course, we come back with more matches next Saturday. It is an action-packed first 2 weeks of the Challenger League. Meanwhile, Grand League continues to heat up. That will continue tomorrow as well. So make sure that you catch all of the action all of the time, everywhere, all at once. And thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again in the